Have you ever just looked up at the stars and thought about the thousands, literally thousands, of alien planets we found out there? Well, what if we could just reach out, grab one, and plop it down right here in our own solar system? It's a crazy idea, right? But that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna run a massive thought experiment and see what happens when these alien worlds become our new next-door neighbors.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What would actually happen? Would it just settle in peacefully, or would it kick off total system-wide chaos? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer really depends on two things: which planet you pick, and more importantly, where you put it. You see, for billions of years, our solar system has been locked in this incredibly delicate gravitational dance. Everything is balanced, everything is predictable, it's like a finely tuned machine. So introducing a brand new planet, that's like tossing a wrench into the gears of a priceless clock. The results? Well, they could be catastrophic.
All right, enough talk. Let's run the experiment. And for our first test subject, we're starting with a planet that astronomers once got really excited about, even calling it Earth 2.0. But as you're about to see, a change of scenery can have some, let's just say, fiery consequences.
Okay, first up, we're going to start close to home, in the inner solar system. Now, this is a pretty crowded neighborhood, gravitationally speaking, so things could get interesting fast.
Let's meet our first guest, TRAPPIST 1e. As you can see, it's almost a twin to Earth in size. But here's the crucial difference. Its home star is an ultra-cool dwarf. Think of it as a tiny, dim campfire, compared to our sun, which is more like a blazing bonfire. And that difference? It's everything.
See, back in its own system, TRAPPIST 1e is kind of a rock star. It's in the perfect spot to have liquid water, it probably has an atmosphere, maybe even continents and oceans. It's a genuine candidate for a second Earth. But that's all about to change.
So let's take Mercury out of the picture and drop TRAPPIST 1e into its orbit. Uh-oh, remember how its old star was a tiny campfire? Well, our sun is a raging inferno. The heat is just overwhelming. Our promising Earth 2.0 becomes a scorched, lifeless cinder.
The source we're looking at puts it perfectly. It would crisp this world up like a piece of burnt toast. Any water would just boil off instantly. Its atmosphere would get blasted away into space. It's a total incineration. So, lesson number one, a planet's home is all about the star it orbits. You change the star, you change absolutely everything.
Okay, so a small planet didn't work out so well. But what if we brought in something with a little more heft? Something with more gravity to protect itself? All right, let's up the stakes and bring in a super-Earth. Say hello to Kepler 442b. This thing is more than twice as massive as Earth and a good bit larger. And that extra mass, that extra gravity, it completely changes the rules of the game. And once again, it all comes down to this idea of the habitable zone, that Goldilocks region where it's not too hot, not too cold. Kepler 442b star is cooler than our sun, so its habitable zone is snuggled up much closer. By moving it into our system, we're yanking it out of its cozy spot and throwing it way too close to the fire.
Now here's where that extra gravity becomes a curse. As our sun bakes the planet, its oceans would boil away, creating tons of steam. But its powerful gravity wouldn't let that steam escape. Instead, it would trap it, creating a thick, suffocating atmosphere that triggers a runaway greenhouse effect. Our habitable super-Earth transforms into a super-Venus, a hellish, high-pressure oven.
And this is where it gets truly scary for us. The gravity of this new, massive neighbor would start tugging on everyone else. Over thousands of years, the orbits of Earth, Venus, and Mars would start to wobble. Fast forward millions of years, and the inner solar system turns into a game of cosmic billiards. Planets could get flung out into deep space, or worse, crash right into each other.
All right, so the inner solar system is clearly too delicate for new neighbors. Let's try moving a little further out. What if we drop our next planet into the asteroid belt, right between Mars and Jupiter? So our next planet is nicknamed Ogle, and this thing is a beast. It's 5.5 times the mass of Earth, a real heavyweight. Back home, it's an absolutely frigid wasteland, with surface temperatures dropping to a mind-numbing -223 degrees Celsius.
And just a quick cool aside, we found Ogle using a wild technique called gravitational microlensing. Instead of seeing the planet pass in front of its star, scientists actually saw the light from a totally different star behind it get bent by Ogle's immense gravity. So we know it's there because we can literally feel its gravitational tug from across the galaxy.
So what happens when you drop this massive, icy world into the middle of the asteroid belt? It's a chain reaction of pure disaster. Its gravity acts like a giant slingshot, just flinging millions of asteroids out of their orbits and sending them hurtling toward us in the inner solar system. The forecast for Earth would suddenly be, well, a very high chance of giant, world-ending impacts.
Okay, we've torched planets. We've started asteroid storms. For the grand finale, we're going all out. We're going to introduce a planet so ridiculously massive it could wreck the entire solar system.
Everyone, meet J1407b. Calling it a gas giant doesn't do it justice. This is a super-Saturn. It clocks in at 20 times the mass of our own Saturn. I mean, just look at that comparison. It completely dwarfs everything.
And its rings are just absurd. They are 200 times wider than Saturn's. If you put this thing where Saturn is, its rings would dominate our night sky. The scale is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
Now, if we place this monster out between Saturn and Uranus, its gravity would act like a giant celestial broom. It would sweep through the Kuiper Belt, that huge field of icy comets and debris out past Neptune, and hurl a whole new wave of cosmic projectiles right toward us.
But here it is, the ultimate danger. Jupiter is our solar system's gravitational anchor. It's the big protector. Its stable orbit keeps everything in line. If a monster like J1407b got close enough to just nudge Jupiter, the entire gravitational balance of our solar system would be broken. It would all unravel. Game over.
So, after all that destruction and chaos, what's the takeaway? Well, this whole thought experiment really tells us something pretty profound about our little corner of the universe. We've seen that a planet's fate is completely tied to its star. We saw how adding just one big rock to the inner system can cause a slow-motion pileup. We triggered an asteroid apocalypse, and with a true giant, we threatened to bring the whole house of cards down.
And that really brings us to a final, pretty humbling thought. Our solar system isn't just some random collection of planets. It is an incredibly fragile, beautifully balanced machine that's managed to stay stable for billions of years. And it really makes you wonder, in the vastness of the cosmos, just how rare is a quiet, stable neighborhood like ours?